This suggests the inflammatory response, the cleanup process after muscle damage, might have resolved faster, maybe with less collateral damage to healthy tissue.
So the working hypothesis behind that is
Yep.
what? The electrons again?
Pretty much. The idea is that these mobile electrons flowing from the Earth act like natural antioxidants. They travel through our body's connective tissue matrix.
Like a delivery system.
Kind of, yeah. This matrix is seen as a semiconductor network. The electrons get conducted to the site of injury and neutralize those reactive oxygen species, the free radicals, that are generated during inflammation, protecting healthy cells from damage.
So it's like sending in reinforcements to calm things down at the molecular level.
That's a good way to put it. By providing the electrons that these free radicals are desperately seeking, you stabilize them and stop them from causing further harm.
Okay, and how do these electrons actually get in? You mentioned skin contact, but are there specific routes?
Well, researchers have proposed a couple of main pathways. One idea involves acupuncture points and meridians. These are known to be areas on the skin with lower electrical resistance, so maybe they act as entry points.
Like little gateways.
Potentially. Another possibility is through mucous membranes, like those lining our airways and digestive tract. They're essentially continuous with our skin surface. And there was some work by researchers named Sokol and Sokol. They actually measured how quickly a person's body electrical potential drops when they're grounded. It happens almost instantly.
Really?
Yeah, and it jumps right back up when they disconnect. That really suggests a rapid, real-time electrical effect on our internal environment. It's not just a slow, gradual thing.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Like we have this complex electrical system inside us, and maybe in our modern lives, we're just not plugging it in enough.
That's the core idea being explored.
And you mentioned the connective tissue matrix. There's this concept of the living matrix. Tell me more about that.
Right, the living matrix. It's sometimes called the ground regulation system or the tissue tensegrity matrix. It's basically this body-wide network. Think collagen, the fluid between cells, the internal skeletons of cells, even the matrix within the cell nucleus. It's all interconnected.
Like an internal scaffolding or communication network.
Exactly. And the idea is that this whole system acts like a semiconductor, capable of conducting energy and information, including these electrons from the Earth, throughout the entire body. It's proposed as maybe our primary antioxidant defense system.
Wow.
And the hypothesis suggests this system might actually need periodic recharging through contact with the Earth to function optimally and protect us from oxidative stress from that free radical damage.
So, okay, pulling back a bit, even though the research has limitations, we are seeing some consistently reported benefits, right?
Yes, based on the studies we have, even the smaller ones, better sleep comes up quite a bit, especially in those studies using the grounding sheets.
And reduce muscle soreness after exercise.
Yeah, reported in studies using patches and sheets. There are also anecdotal reports, like someone finding their chronic knee pain improved using grounding sheets, though that's just one story, of course.
What about mood or energy?
Some studies using mats, patches, or pillows reported improvements in mood based on questionnaires. And those massage therapists in one study reported having more energy and less fatigue.
Okay. But for some other claims, the evidence is weaker.
Right. Things like boosting overall immune function, reducing general inflammation beyond specific injury contexts, significantly faster wound healing across the board, beyond that one diabetes study, or major improvements in circulation and heart function. The evidence there is generally considered less robust or still quite preliminary. We need more, larger studies.
Got it. Now, let's just quickly touch on something else, because the word grounding gets used differently too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the context of mental health, particularly anxiety management.
Right. That's more about being present, being in the moment.
Exactly. It's a psychological technique. The idea is to anchor yourself in the present moment when you feel overwhelmed or anxious, to pull your focus away from distressing thoughts or feelings. It's not about electrical connection with the Earth.
And there's that 5-step process people often talk about.
Yeah, using the 5 senses. Like, name 5 things you can see right now, 4 things you can physically feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
It's a way to interrupt that spiral of anxious thoughts and just be here now.
It's a really useful coping strategy for anxiety, definitely valuable, but yeah, totally distinct from the physiological earthing we've been discussing. Although, arguably, being barefoot in nature might actually help with both.
Good point. Okay, let's talk risks. Is grounding safe? Walking barefoot seems pretty harmless, mostly.
Generally, yes. Nature-based grounding, walking, swimming is considered very safe. Maybe watch out for sharp objects or uneven ground, common sense things.
But what about the mats, the sheets, the devices?
Okay, here, a bit more caution is needed. There is a theoretical risk of electrical shock if these devices aren't designed or used properly, especially ones that plug into wall sockets.
Right, because they connect to the house's grounding system.
Exactly. So it's super important to follow the manufacturer's instructions to the letter, and crucially, talk to your doctor before using any of these products.
Especially if you have existing health issues.
Definitely, particularly if you have any chronic conditions, medical implants like pacemakers, or if you've had recent surgery, get medical advice first.
It's really key to remember this isn't a replacement for proper medical care, is it?
Absolutely not. Grounding, whatever its benefits might be, should be seen as potentially complementary, not a cure. If you have symptoms or health concerns, your first stop should always be a healthcare professional.
Okay. And just quickly, any minor risks with the natural methods?
Well, yeah, common sense again. Walking barefoot, uneven surfaces, potential for trips or falls, swimming in natural water, slippery rocks, maybe microorganisms in the water, especially if it's stagnant or you have open cuts. Just be aware of your surroundings.
Right. Now, let's just briefly dip into the history. It's kind of interesting that this idea of connection to the earth isn't entirely new, is it?
Not at all. Many ancient cultures had beliefs about the vital connection between living things and the Earth's energies, seeing it as essential for balance and health. They wouldn't have talked about electrons, obviously, but the concept of Earth energy was there.
Then, later on, as we started understanding electricity better.
Right, in the 19th century, with the understanding of electrical conduction growing, some people started interpreting these Earth energies in terms of electrons, kind of laying the groundwork for the modern ideas.
And then Clint Ober came along in the 90s.
Yeah, he really popularized the concept in its current form, coining the term earthing. He apparently got the idea thinking about how electrical systems and technology are grounded for stability and safety, and wondered if the human body needed something similar.
And he wrote that book, Earthing, the most important health discovery ever. Quite a title.
It certainly makes a bold claim. His central theory now is basically that our modern lifestyle shoes with insulating soles, living and working in buildings raised off the ground, has disconnected us from this essential electron exchange.
And the implication is that this lack of contact leads to a buildup of positive charge, more free radicals, and contributes to health problems.
That's the essence of the hypothesis, yes, that we're missing out on this natural balancing effect from the Earth.
Okay, so as we start to wrap this deep dive up, what are the main takeaways for people listening?
Well, I think the core concept is that grounding, or earthing, is about direct physical contact with the Earth based on the idea that this facilitates an exchange of electrons.
Right. And while the research is still, pretty limited and often has methodological issues.
There are some studies and quite a bit of anecdotal evidence suggesting potential benefits. Things like improved sleep, maybe reduced pain and stress, possibly less inflammation, and maybe faster wound healing seem to be recurring themes.
We've talked about the different ways to do it, the old school, walking barefoot or swimming, and the newer stuff like mats and sheets.
Exactly. But it's crucial to be cautious, especially with the manufactured devices, follow instructions, and definitely don't rely on grounding instead of seeing your doctor if you have health concerns.
Absolutely. So maybe a final thought to leave people with. Consider how disconnected many of us are from the natural environment in our daily lives.
Yeah, from the actual ground beneath our feet.
Regardless of where the science ultimately lands on electron transfer, maybe there's something intrinsically valuable about reconnecting with nature, even in simple ways. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Think about your own experiences. Do you feel different when you spend time with your bare feet on the grass or sand? It's certainly food for thought.